Namaste, beloveds. This is Valerie AMES, aka Mother with Wisdom, and this is going to be a video just on some things that have arisen in my consciousness. A lot of it was stirred up yesterday. Um, I watched a segment on transformational radio on Facebook, and it was with um, Sherry Clark and Dr. Pat Baccii. I can't say that. Bassi. I don't know how to say that. But it was um, let me see. I wrote it down. Courage to be seen. There we go. Courage to be seen. And I have the station so that it pops up on my Facebook when there's a show. And so this particular show popped up, and like I said, it called me Courage to be Seen. Courage to be seen. And beloveds, those words can have many, many meanings to many, many different individuals. And the courage to be seen. Sometimes the courage to be seen doesn't mean your physical appearance. Sometimes the courage to be seen can be your spiritual appearance. Sometimes the courage to be seen can be an intimate part of you that you don't share that much. Like I said, it's very individualistic. And so just because the courage to be seen, don't just take it for the shallow, I won't say shallow, the immediate conception of it. Look deeper, go deeper. The courage to be seen. What about you? And in the self-inquiry journey process, vibration building frequency, tuning in frequency, ascending, aligning, whatever you want to call that, rebirthing yourself. What is there about you? Look in deep. Who am I? What is there that you hide about yourself? That you mask, that you cover up, that you cover over, that you dismiss, that you reject, that you don't want anyone to know. The courage to be seen. And that part of you, or that particular essence or frequency of you, are you courageous enough, bold enough to look at it, to view it in a mirror, to see yourself, and to look at yourself in the eyes and says, I hide this about myself, or I don't feel comfortable sharing this part with me, with others, with me, with others, and have the conversation why. And if you don't know why, ask to be shown. Pray to be shown. Ask to be shown. Ask to be told. Ask to remember. Even as a child, ask to remember. like I said, a lot of the deeper awareness that I am encountering at the moment is because I'm asking to be shown where it's coming from. And I'm asking to be shown, even if I see that part and know that part of it, show me deeper. Let me look deeper into it. Show it to me deep. I'm ready to see it deeper now. I can handle seeing it a little bit deeper. Not a whole woo, but a little bit. I'm ready to be fed now. Baby food. I'm off the Similac. I'm off the, Milky Way galactic booby. Give me some. I'm not ready for the whole steak just yet, but feed me. You know, feed me. I'm ready for something, for some solids. And so this is looking deeper within yourself. This is recognizing yourself at a deeper level so that you don't need a mask. So that when you connect with others or when you connect with energy, other energy, you know who you are. So that frequency is present because you're not suppressing it. You're not denying it, you're not hiding it. And it's no longer the ego's secret weapon because it's out now. It's out of the closet. So like I said, no matter what, no matter what it is, whether it is something physical, whether it is something metaphysical, it's time for it to come out of the closet. It's time for you to see the seen and the unseen about yourself. And this is what deeper reflection is all about. This is what self inquiry is all about. It's knowing yourself beyond what you see, beyond what can be seen with physical eyes. That means you're going inside of yourself deeply and you're confronting your inner mirror. You're confronting your soul. You know how they say the eyes are the windows to the soul? You're looking into your soul, not someone else's, not the conditioning that someone else did, but the after effect, the result of who you are, who you hold on to, who you know yourself to be, or who you believe yourself to be in this moment before you go deeper. And just take the time, beloveds. Take the time to know yourself. That is the greatest and most rewarding lesson that there could ever be. It is one that the saints and the sages and the masters and the prophets, and this is, has always been know yourself, know your connection to everything, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how beautiful, no matter how ugly, no matter how dark, no matter how demonic, no matter how angelic. Know yourself and don't be frightened. Being frightened of yourself is a conditioned response that the ego mind uses so that you deny yourself, so that you reject what you see, what you find, what you feel, what you know. And you go back to the ego's mind perception, an image and version. And you allow that egoic mind to keep controlling you, to keep programming you, to stay, to keep you its puppet, to keep you asleep, to keep your spirit asleep. Because you are giant. You have a vastness about you that is, whoo, goes beyond space and time. And it's time for you to recognize that again about yourself. Because you're recognizing that about yourself changes the frequencies in the universe. And beloveds, this is the Aquarian age. This is the time for things to change. This is a rebirth, a reset, a redo. Just like you have those of the, I'll say the old guard, the old energy, the old boy network, the patriarchy, the dark cabal, the devil, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, that force, like in Star Wars, the force. You know, there's that which is oppositional. Okay, just like in football, you have offense and you have defense. Okay, that which is oppositional to who you are, that has to be put in check. It's time for it to stop driving now. It's then got us here. Its GPS system is messed up because it's egoic. It's not instinctual. You know how you have that I guess cliche saying or stereotype about a man never wanting to stop and get directions when he's driving. I know the way. We're not lost. That's that mind. I know the way. What do you mean you're not me? This is not your real identity. This is who you've been. What are you talking about? You are so limited. When you really start to look and really start to inquire within, when you really have the courage to see, certain things don't add up anymore. And you do take on, you connect with your vastness. You connect more with your instincts. You allow your instincts to guide you more, meaning you don't doubt yourself as much. And that doubting starts shrinking. And it starts shrinking, beloveds, because you are honoring what you have inquired about. Who am I? That is being answered for you. And the answer is not coming from outside of you. It's coming from within you. And it's lining up with everything that you've ever heard, that you've ever read, that you've ever been told, that you've ever dreamed, that you've ever imagined. And that confirms that, okay, you're not crazy. Okay, you're not making all of this up. Okay, we do have a connection to a higher, deeper intelligence than our own, regardless of what we want to call that. But we've got to have the courage to allow ourselves to be ready to receive it, regardless of if we've been told, don't go there. Regardless of the energies that don't want you to go there. And they are going to let you know they don't want you going there. But like I say, you stand on who you know yourself to be. And you understand why they don't want you there. And if they don't want you there, then that means they're afraid of what's there, of what you might find there, of the identity that you get there, that they may not be able to influence you anymore. Your ego may not be able to influence you anymore. That identity of being weak and helpless and scared and hopeless and a punk and ugly and not worthy and wanting to die and miserable and nobody likes me and all of this, that goes away. That goes away when there is no ego because you do not have the attachments to those things. You understand that that is a limitation. And what you are part of and what you connect with cannot fit into any body's box. Be that a man's box, a woman's box, a starseed's box, a alien's box, a god's or goddess's box. You cannot fit into a box, period. You are sacred geometry itself. You are the elements and the elementals themselves. You are the fifth element. Getting to know itself, raising its vibration through the chemical awareness of itself. Let me read what I wrote. um, Again, this just sparked me. It inspired me. Um, the words of it, the courage to be seen. And again, her name is Sherry Clark, and she was on Dr. Pat's show on transformationradio.com, couragetobeseen.com. I love to give um, the references to where material comes from because it just shows that we are all connected, beloveds. And like I say, some people may not be able to receive, chew, and digest things the way I give it. but there'll be others that are. They'll be like, oh, wow, yes. Oh, I know, yes. But there'll be others that others can be fed by and nourished by. And it's the same message. It's just the receiver, the tune, and the frequency, the white noise and the static in our frequency. We are very subtle, complex, unique beings. And we have to allow for that. So, like I said, I have no problem with saying where I got something from. None at all. Here we go. And this is what Sherry Clark said that blew my mind. You cannot be seen and be perfect. Everything that we see is imperfect. You cannot be seen and be perfect in an imperfect world. And I use imperfect world because we have manifested this from a place of mm, not truly being aligned and knowing ourselves, not truly knowing what we're capable of. So we have manifested this lesson individually and collectively. And individually and collectively, you cannot be seen and be perfect. So many of us think that in order to be seen, we have to be perfect. Just like me sitting up here putting on all of this before I do this. This is not my version of perfect, but it is my version of being comfortable with me. But there would have been a time I wouldn't have even been comfortable doing this. Okay, my bra straps are showing, I got cleavage showing, and I'm weird. Now it's what makes you comfortable. What do you like? What do you want to look like? What is feels good to you that will not, you know, offend the masses, so to speak? Is gonna offend somebody. So, girl, that's too much boobies. Girl, your bra is strap is showing. Why you got your bra strap showing? You're not gonna please no everybody. That's why I say to be seen, you can't be perfect because there's always going to be a hair out of place. There's always somebody just gonna say mm. And you're gonna feel that, and you're gonna check yourself. That's why I have the courage to be seen. And to have the courage to be seen, that means you got to have the courage to be you. Okay? Have the courage to be you. Regardless of what somebody else is going to think, regardless of what somebody else is going to feel. As long as you know you are aligned and are working from a higher frequency. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you go and do all the little devilish demon shit you want to do because that's who you is and that's how you are, and hey, I'm speaking from a higher frequency. I'm speaking from a point of healing. I'm speaking from a point of ascension, something that's going to raise your spirits up, not keep your spirits down. So please understand where I'm coming from and what I'm saying and what I am encouraging. The courage to be seen. means know yourself. It means know that you are vast. You're beyond what you believe yourself to be. And we have to give ourselves permission to be, because we've been conditioned to say no thank you. I'm not that. I'm not worthy. I'm not good. I'm not. If you only knew. It's time, just like I used to couldn't take compliments. Oh hell no, don't give me no something is wrong with you giving me. You just don't know who you giving a compliment to, okay? If you only knew. It's okay. Let somebody see the good in you. It's there. You look for it. Self-inquiry. But to even go there, you have to understand, overstand, and admit to yourself that you are worthy to be connected to the divine, that you are worthy, that you are loved. You exist. You exist to serve. Understand that. And when I say you exist to serve, you are serving as an example. You are serving as a image. You're serving as a reflection of. Serve. Okay. Choose to be inspired. Inspired is, I wrote, choose the choosing the breath of God. Where do you like being seen? Where are you not being seen? These were the two. She said, make a list. A list of one on one side, where are you not being seen? On the other side, where do you like being seen? So this is self-inquiry. No matter how you cut that pie, this is self-inquiry. Who am I? You looking at what makes this pie? What's in this pie? Mm, 5 things that are keeping you from being seen. Um, what you feel is not being enough. And again, beloveds, this is transformationradio.com. This is Dr. Pat, BACCII, and also Sherry Clark from couragetobeseen.com. Okay, now I'm going to get to what Spirit um, gave me to share. Um, with my understanding, like I said, of this deeper, going deeper into the vortex with the courage to be seen, okay? Like I said, that took me deeper into the vortex. And what I wrote down is kill them with kindness is vengeance in the art of war. Kill them with kindness is vengeance in the art of war. You know how we said Jesus turned the other cheek. It's not that you let somebody hurt you. It's that you don't let them get in your mind and turn you, condition you, make you believe that you are unworthy, that you are less than the spiritual expression that you are. And I want you to think about the art of war. When someone is attacking you, bullying you, trying to hurt you or hurting you, what is their objective? Besides just outright killing you, and if they kill you, you won't know who you are. But outside of outright killing you, what are they trying to do? They're trying to make you feel less than. When a man rapes a woman, he don't care if that woman is beautiful, pretty, fat, skinny, young, old. He don't care. He's hurting her because he's been hurt. He's being violent with her because someone has been violent with him. He's diminishing her because somebody has diminished him. And it makes him feel better. Whether temporary or for the long run. That just depends on his own frequency. Spirits around him and in him. Understanding of himself. How much of his soul is still present and how much is gone. That determines how much he still recognizes himself. Okay? So understand. Let me keep going because I get to this later on in there. So let me just keep going. Kill them with kindness. And when I say kill them with kindness, again, beloveds, we are talking about being reflections. We're talking about being images. And we're talking about the opposites. Okay? When you look in the mirror, you're still seeing you, but it's flipped. Okay, just like when I look at this camera, my mole is on this side of the face, unless I flip it, and then it's back over here. But if I don't flip it, the mole is over here. But on my face, the mole is right here. So I want you to understand that a mirror image twists who you are, what you are. And we are reflections and images of each other. And some of these reflections and images are showing us the opposite of who we are. And we have got to understand we can't look away. We got the Care Bear stare and kill them with kindness. You don't know who you are. You are listening to your sadistic egoic mind. And you are a slave to that identity, to that master. You are the puppet and it is the puppet master. It's pulling the strings and you dancing and that mouth is saying, and how do I know? Because baby, whew, been there, done there, and still trying to get back from there, okay? So understand, don't you dare be hopeless. Don't you dare think things are not changing and not going to change. Oh, yes, they are. That's been told billions of years ago. Billions, quadrillions, and jillions of years ago. We just are getting to this point again where we are ready to make a decision to answer the question, who am I? Or be confronted by this alien frequency or energy that says, take me to your leader. And you got to, here I go. Here it is. Vast. And if you got to ask, that means that you ain't got to that vastness yet. Okay, let me keep going. Okay, I got on here Bible prophecy, the bears. And the bears, beloveds, when I was a child, like I said, I grew up Jehovah's Witness. And with the Jehovah's Witness, you were a Bible student. You didn't just go to meetings and let the preacher, the minister, or whoever um, tell you, turn in the Bible and this say this, and you read it, but this say this, and this is what it means. No. No. We were taught to study, to be a diligent student, to cross reference something if you did not understand, and to just don't take something at face value, but to ask for the revelation of it. So, beloveds, no matter where I went or what I did or where who I became, I'm still that Bible student. And those teachings, those proverbs, that wisdom is what I use to guide me. And getting there, um, in Revelation, it speaks about um, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, the bears. And if you know anything, you know that the bear represents Russia as well. And if you are on the Native American tip, you know that the bear is the strongest medicine that there is. Like I said, when you have these mirrors and you have one version and you have the opposite version, you have to really understand what's taking place. And if you've noticed, there is a big leap in the indigenous native traditions coming forward. The whole rainbow warrior. Like I said, this is bear medicine. This is medicine from the sky. Big Dipper and Little Dipper. This is ancient energy that we're dealing with. These are ancient stories that we're living and dealing with right now. So do not bury your head in the sand because things appear so chaotic. You have to ground yourself in your knowledge of who you are. That is how you stay anchored. That is how you stay rooted. No matter what storm comes, no matter how bad it is, you stay rooted in the knowledge of who you are. That there is no storm that can touch the vastness of source, of existence. What's it gonna do? Knock everything out from existing? I don't think so. We even have dinosaur bones. They're even animating the flesh of dinosaurs from the sea. They're even cloning it and doing all kind of things. So don't think. don't lose the essence of the integrity that is in the expression of your image, your true image. Have the courage to see you. Have the courage to be you. Have the wisdom to know that you are not your conditioned, egoic reflection. You're more than that. Okay. Show the mirrors of I am that since it is a choice that creates a frequency, a child shall lead them. The condition of children globally in history, children have been under attack. The Egyptians and Baal. The Egyptians, um, the slaughter of the innocents. When Herod was looking for Jesus. Before that, when they were looking for, in a time where Moses was, his sister Miriam put him in the water, they were killing the babies. Okay, I want you to understand this is a repetitive frequency. This is a sequence that must be put into order. And this is being, woof, okay. It is a sequence to a countdown of change. Whoa. It is a repetitive sequence. It is a repetitive cycle. It is a repetitive cipher. And I really want you to understand of what you're doing when you're sacrificing innocence on this level and why you're doing it. Because things are changing. There's such a frequency, a higher frequency being established that you have to do this. That mirror flip side of you has to do this in order to anchor itself. And the more it shows you this, the more fearful you get, the more angry you get, the more you let your ego dictate to you who you are and what you should do and everything else. And so you lose balance and you lose ground. And that is the art of war. We have seen enough movies, we have read enough history, and I want you to think about a sniper. A sniper does what? It's going to get somebody out. It's going to catch somebody. And the more you try to run and help that person, it's going to snipe everything around it. It's going to get you. It's using a decoy to lure you out into the open so it can get you too. That is the art of war. That is what predators do. Understand that what is taking place is not new in the history of mankind. Cain slew Abel. War broke out in heaven. As above, so below. Isn't that what we've been told? So if you understand that there's a war can break out in heaven, but that war was won because the opposer, the oppositional force, the egoic mindset that was narcissistic was kicked out of heaven, excommunicated, exiled, cut off. As above, so below. There's a warning. Earth, children of earth, beware. Because you have something that's watching your realm, something that can enter into your realm. Maybe not in physical, but it can possess the physical. It can animate and do different things. And it's roaming around like a lion ready to devour because it knows it has a limited time. A limited time to do what, Valerie? A limited time to convince you that you are not divine, that you are not a divine expression. That whole scenario is in Job. Job was the first book of the Bible, not Genesis. Read it again. Read it and see it. Have the courage to see what is there when it comes to humanity, when it comes to the divine, when it comes to the seen and the unseen. When it comes to the seen and the unseen. And know that Job only had what he knew, only had what he had observed, only had what was told to him, only knew himself to be identified with this energy. And could nobody shake him. His wife couldn't shake him. His friends couldn't shake him. The death of his kids couldn't shake him. Disease couldn't shake him. Storms couldn't shake him. Losing everything he had and worked for. He wouldn't curse God. He wouldn't curse God. He wouldn't blame none of that on God. And the devil tried and tried. This force tried and tried and tried. But Job was a Jedi Knight, baby. Tried and true. I ain't blaming God for none of this. Because if existence allows this to exist, existence know way more than I do, so existence must have a reason for it. So hey, I'm just gonna keep existing just like this. Because existence know more than I do. God knows more than I do. It made everything, made the seasons, made the stars, made me, gave me the possibility to have children, gave me the possibility to till the land and make money. gave me the possibility to love my wife, gave me the ability to reason, to think for myself, and to know and love it, and be grateful to it. And you want me to do what? You want me to curse my existence and what gave me existence? Not I. Not I. And beloveds, this is self-inquiry. All of that was to see who Job was. It says it was a test. It says that force, that devil, that Satan, that dark cabal, that dark council, that dark star, whatever you want to call it, it went into the higher realms, to the higher vibrations where it was allowed. And the highest of the high asked it, "Where have you been?" And it said, "I've been roaming earth." And the test, the challenge was put out. And no matter where you go, in what cosmology you look in, it don't have to be Christian. There's always gods fighting lower gods or lesser gods or demons or angels fighting demons or fairies fighting trolls or orcs fighting whatever or humans fighting witches in the Wizard of Oz. Whatever, there's always opposition. What is the opposition there for? What is the reason for the opposition? So you can know who you are. So you can choose. So you can develop your will. So you can vibrate higher. So that the next dimension, the next world, the next life that you go into, you graduate from where you were. And if you don't graduate, you repeat. And there are a lot that have not graduated. Okay? And those are the ones that we're dealing with. But there are a lot that have graduated and have stayed. You have the story of Kuan Yin, who had earned the right to ascend. She knew who she was. But through compassion for those left down here crying because they didn't know, I'll stay. I'll stay and help them. I've been there. When we hear Negro spirituals, when we have a need to want to see the hero triumph, when we take sides, even on the football teams or some kind of sports, we're making one the hero and one not the hero. One is the opposer and one is the defender, okay? Even if that team has its own, what is it, offense and defense. Both teams have offense and defense, okay? But you're still rooting for one team. Even if you don't like the offensive players on the same team, you in for the team. You don't care. You just want the team to win. You don't like none of the offensive players. You love the defense, but you don't like the offense. But you love the team, so, you go with the team. like I said, it gets deep if you look at it. It gets really deep if you look at it. Nothing is new under the sun. And the manipulations is subtle. So subtle. So subtle. Okay, let me keep going. Um, this is why a lot of the ancient societies used mirrors. And a lot of the mirrors were called dark mirrors. And the dark mirrors used the dark magic, the lower vibrating energies. And beloveds, when I say lower vibrating, I don't mean that one has to be higher and one has to be lesser, and God likes this one more than God likes that one. And that's man's concept of vastness, unlimitedness. Okay? If you're vast, you don't deny none of yourself. If you are zero, that means you contain them both and you don't have a favorite. You just have balance. It's just like your body. When your body is healthy, you're still riddled with bacteria and plaque and disease and all kind of stuff. You need it to keep yourself healthy. But when there's an imbalance, then you get sick. And you have to take medicine to rebalance you, to reboot you, to bring you back in harmony. And again, beloveds, this is seeing things, having the courage to see things outside of the ego's mind. We're sinners. That's why we get sick and die. A lot deeper than that. You get cancer because of this, and that, and this. Those are the physical manifestations and symptoms, yes. But you have to understand what we're allowing in society. And what we're allowing affects you. And if you feel that you're helpless, or that you feel bad, or you feel you want to die, guess what you're doing to your body? I know, because I've been there. 600 pounds, diabetes, a depression that's whoop. All of this comes from knowing me. And you can say, well, how can you say this and that and that and this if you're not even there yourself? Look at this world, beloved. Who's there? Who can measure who's there? Who can measure who's close to being there? I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right. I'm saying it's right for me. It's working for me. Just like Kuan Yin with the compassion. I've been suffering. I ain't suffering the way I used to suffer no more. I'm showing you. I'm telling you how, why, where, what, when. And it's coming from a place of love, not from a place of vengeance. Not from a place that I want to see somebody else get squashed for what they did to me and mine. Do you know how many lifetimes things have happened to me and mine? I hold those memories. I carry that awareness. It never lets me forget who I am. It is the reason I am who I am. It is the reason I can sit here and say this now. It is the reason I can say last year, oh, I went through holy, unholy hell. Valerie, you went through holy, unholy hell so you can know how holy you are. Namaste. Namaste. Like I said, it's not about vengeance. It's not about trying to hurt somebody's. I'm not in competition with anybody. There's no one on this earth or off this earth or of this earth that I am in competition with when I stand in the knowing that I am existence itself. What anybody and everybody else thinks, that's egoic. What kept me as seeing them as opposition, mean I had to be on defense. I'm no longer playing defense. Nope, 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 nope. If that is a position, I give it to existence because existence know a lot more about it than I do. And if I'm going to understand and understand anything about the art of war, baby, you give it to your champion. That champion is not me. I'm still growing into them shoes. But I know that I'm not alone. So even when me in my little shoes, my little red tap dancing shoes, my ballerina shoes, when it's time for me to dance and dance and dance and dance, I'm not alone. Let me keep going because I'm doing a lot of eyes here. And that means that I'm getting into personality. And we don't want to get into personality. It's just that easy. It's just that easy to get hooked into that personality and get to making and taking things personal. And when you find yourself making and taking things personal, that means your sadistic mind has put you back in that masochistic role and is riding you, baby. Sticking the spurs in, okay? Saying, giddy up. So, buck that ego off and say, not today. Not today. Not today. Not today. Or not right now. Anyway. Maybe later on we'll see, but not right now. And you just let it go. don't. Oh, it got me again. Oh, no, focus, focus. You know, one of the things that what was her name again? I know it was Sherry Clark. One of the things Sherry Clark said was to keep notes. And that's what I'm going to, I started with this, with my thoughts. That way I don't forget them and everything else. So now I'm going to have to start writing down things that I want to accomplish during that day. I'm going to have to, I used to do these things to be organized. When I was working and a mother and everything else, I would have, okay, we got to do the laundry this day, we got to do the grocery shopping this day, we got to do this day, and we got to do that day, and this time and that time, and this got to be taken care of. And I've gotten out of that, and I've got to get back into that. Not that I'm mapping everything out to do. I'm improving the way I'm being. I'm managing my evolution, my ascension process better than being lost. So I can't explain it, but it's deep. But let me keep going because I know this is sounding out there. So let me keep going. Small child shall lead them. Look at the condition of the children globally, beloved, and that's I guess what's probably got me too. This is very deep. In the United, I live in the United States. Right now, we have children in cages, immigrant children, migrant children, separated from their parents, separated from their caregivers, and that's very painful. And in looking at this, there is also a focus on human trafficking. There is focus on human beings being in prisons and elsewhere being kidnapped for their organs. There is all kinds of just very heinous activities going on at this time. And like I said, a lot of it really has to do with the children. And this is what we need to see. Not just here in the United States getting riled up about it, but to understand why the children are being used in this manner. It has a lot to do with like the Golden Child. That whole movie was about Eddie Murphy was tracking a young girl, young teenage girl that had went missing. And her body and her blood was used. And if you know the story, you know the story. If you know the story of Mortal Kombat, you know the story of Mortal Kombat. This is about the seen and the unseen, and I can't keep saying that enough. In the history, in the Bible itself, you have, like I said about the Egyptians, um, what was going on and how Moses came to be. Well, a version of that story of how Moses came to be, and how the one God came to be, the monotheistic God came to be. And there's a lot of controversy around that. But more things are surfacing through archaeological find, through scientific information, through downloads such as this, through just revelations, that everything is going to be made clear or clearer. I can say that for the next part of our transition out of this dark ages We are once again in the dark ages, beloveds. If you know anything about the dark ages, compare to what's going on right now, and you'll see that this is the dark ages. And the Bible is called the Great Tribulation. These things are coming. There is no, it's not going to happen. But what you need to do is to get your vibration higher and understand that because a number that no man can count, just like in the stars in heaven, change gonna come, baby. Change gonna come. And in Baal, the children were offered up to Baal. They were burned. Baal was in the image of a bull. Okay? And if you stocks and bonds and all of this, and back in the day when a child was born, the parents would take out an insurance policy, or that the parents would set up stocks or bonds for that child at birth. That was way back in the day. I remember that. And beloveds, that was attaching that child to the system. Okay, let me just keep going. The golden calf was an appeal to Hathor. Uh, and the reason Aaron, the Levite priest, did this against Moses, Moses came back and they were destroyed. Another thing that keeps coming up for me, beloved, is Michael Duncan. Michael Duncan has been coming up again lately. And it's been about, I think, a year. Maybe a year or two, maybe. I remember when 45 first got in office, and after he had passed, and the dealings, Trump's dealings with Omarosa, he kept coming up. He is coming up again. And the movie Green Mile, and understanding that that whole story, beloved, was about two little girls. Two little girls being raped and butchered, killed, being seduced and lured out of their own house by a stranger who sat with the family and broke bread with them. This is the opposition can be right at your own table and you don't even know it. You entertaining it. You serving it. You invited it in because you didn't see beyond. And this thing used the sisters' love for each other against each other. If you make a noise, I'm going to kill your sister. Or if you don't get your sister to come, I'm going to kill you and your sister going to miss you. I want you to understand, how do you use love against someone in the art of war? It doesn't have to be love for a romantic person or love for a family person. It could be love for a principle, love for a cause, love for children, period. Love for right, period. So again, Michael Duncan is saying, if you need to revisit the Green Mile again and look at the unseen in that movie and listen to what the unseen is saying and what the unseen is doing and how the unseen is being, and see how it is interacting and how others receive it based upon what it looks like outside, not the content of his character, but from the conditioned mind. And think about the relationship between Tom Hanks and Michael Duncan in that movie. Think about the prejudices. Think about the doubt. Think about it. And remember again, this is the seen and the unseen speaking to you about who are you inside. Self-inquiry. Who are you? Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. War, Satan consciousness, false light, illumination was kicked out with its hatred turned towards earth. Mortal Kombat, Men in Black, Star Wars, always chosen children, Lionheart. Um, I wrote down Grasshopper because I can't think of um, that show. Long, oh, what was that show? Kung Fu. There we go. Kung Fu. I want you to think that it was always these children, even the Peanuts with Lucy and Charlie Brown, and it's always certain children, beloveds. And I want you to understand why it is the children. The children are innocent. The children have not been so conditioned by the ego. They are at a pure level. They can tap into who they are, just like they tap into their imaginations easier. They're much more fluid. And that is why they're under attack. Like I said, in Mortal Kombat, Men in Black, Will Smith was chosen. From amongst everybody on the earth, he was chosen. Why was he chosen? The children of Israel, the children of Israel. A child shall lead them. Genghis Khan. If you know anything about history and you know about Genghis, he was about uniting. He was a child that had suffered, that had seen brutality, that had endured it, that had been conditioned by it. These are the examples that are in our awareness right now. They are there for a reason. David from the Bible. David fought Goliath. David was chosen out of all those on the earth. Saul was chosen before him, then David. It is the content of character. It is that being's self-identity, what they've tapped into within their own hearts. But if you look at those stories, even these ones, their hearts were turned because they got into a lifestyle that was in opposition to who they knew themselves to be at an earlier time. And they let all of that go. Remember the Job thing? If you test them with this and this and that, or if you take this away from them. So if you're so attached to something that's going to be taken away from you, you can be blackmailed, you can be used, you can be conditioned against yourself, your own better judgment, because you don't want to lose something you think you're going to lose. That means you've placed more value on it than on your true identity or the God in you. I mean, you've given it up, you've cursed it. And that was the test. Okay. Golden child again. What is the biggest that or competition of artificial? What is the biggest that? Meaning the biggest existence, the most forceful existence, the most powerful existence, the most vast existence. Is it that which is inside of us? Or is it artificial intelligence, that which is outside of us, which our ego tells us to build and to make? An unconditioned child with a very fertile imagination, connection to the unseen. The conditioned mind is full of filters, limitations, restrictions, self-doubt. The opposite is true of an unconditioned truth. This is the mirror reflection of opposite. It explains paradox. Two sides slash images really being one. That means ground zero. And you have the positive and negative sides. Negative one can't exist without positive one. And neither one of them exist outside of zero. Again, this was the mole. Like I said, the flipping of the mole. One side is positive, and before I flip it on the thing, that's the negative side. Are there two different Valeries? No, there's only one. And that one is inside, is unseen. It's not the one with the mole here, and it's not the one with the mole there. The Bible also shows children who were used in a negative manner, or children that were possessed by demonic spirits. When you had them um, going behind Samuel and calling him old bald headed, disrespecting who he was as a prophet, disrespecting who he was as an elder, disrespecting who he was as a chosen one of that existence and a messenger of that existence. And the bears came along and killed him. Sea bears came and killed him. You have the story of Judas. Once Judas had betrayed Jesus right before he went and hung himself. You have the story of the children, or these childlike beings following him, and him just going crazy from their chatter and their what they were saying. I want you to understand this. Just because you see one thing with your physical eyes does not mean you're seeing the reality, because there's a seen and an unseen. And we're at that point in time again where we need to recognize that. And beloveds, that has never not been a part of our existence. Okay? You've had, just like you had the stories of the gods and goddesses, the wizards, the sorceresses, the witches, the fairies, the pixies, the trolls, the gnomes, the all of this. These are of the unseen. This is, you can call it magic, you can call it energy, vibrations, positive, negative. You can call it what you want. As above, so below. Okay, if there was a war up above and that war was won, we're waging that war below. And if things are still the way they are, then there we haven't won, because there's still human beings walking around who don't know who they are. That is how I can say that has not. How can you say the war hasn't been won? Because there are still human beings asleep. There are still those that don't know themselves, recognize themselves. There are still those who give themselves over or sell their souls, or however you want to call that, for fame, for glory, for riches, sacrifice themselves for somebody else. Job said, you come into this world naked. But you feel because so and so and so is so and so and so, then I'll die for them, and that's chivalrous, and that's this and that, and that's a good thing to do, and so forth and so on. But you don't take into account, when you do that, you're taking away from the vastness, and you're limiting it to a certain reality. And you're saying no miracles can happen in this situation, because that is stronger than what I have in me. That is more intelligent. That is more vast. So you're denying yourself. And that's why that puts you in that position. So you will deny yourself. Let me keep going. You will know them by their love amongst each other. Jesus said, after he had been resurrected, how will you know those who have the Holy Spirit, or those who are being led by the Holy Spirit, or those who are helpers, since we are not alone? How will we know who they are? By their character. Not by what comes out of their mouth, not by the things that they do, but by the love that they have amongst themselves. The love they show amongst themselves. And beloveds, when I say that, I want you to look at the the families in the Bible. Look at the families that we have now, how they attack each other and kill each other over a throne, over a position, over an inheritance. Look at your own family when a mother or an auntie or somebody dies and the family's ready to go to blows over a piece of jewelry, a piece of property, a piece of clothing. This is how the mind gets you away from the vastness of who you are by limiting you to a throne, to an earthly throne, by limiting you to this particular person's love or this particular person's favor or or treasure or fame. That's limitations. And we've been conditioned to value those limitations over knowing ourselves. That's why we're bullied. That's why we're conditioned. That's why we go through this. What is it? Bilal made the song about the butterflies. The struggle makes you beautiful. And beloveds, that was my understanding for the longest time. The struggle is what makes us beautiful. No, no, it's not. Overcoming the need to struggle is what makes us beautiful. Knowing the vastness that we are means we don't have to suffer in our thoughts, in our hearts, in our feelings. So, beloveds, how do we, let me keep going before I get there. No matter what my children are going through, they still love me as much as I love them. And that will never change, no matter seen or unseen. Just as I love my mother and my father, at least I know what love is, no matter what my physical limitations, no matter what my any seen circumstances, you can't take my love from me. And when I say that is you'll know them by the love they have amongst themselves. If you have a family that be ready to kill each other 1 minute, but you let a threat come and they forget everything to take care of that threat. Oh no, you don't touch my brother. Mm-mm. I can kick his ass, but you, oh no. The love they have amongst themselves. The love that they have amongst themselves, nobody is perfect. But it's the love. And you know why it's the love? Because you can't limit love, baby. When it's love, it's not, you cannot limit it. You cannot put it in a box and say, this is love. Love is unlimited in this expression. And it can't be contained in time or space, in distance or separation. And when you know that, when you understand that about love, you understand the fruit of the Spirit. And you understand the works of the flesh. And you understand the juxtaposition, the paradox of the two, and how they dance, and the conditioning of what love is. What does the world, what does this matrix system tell us that love is? That it's limited. That if you don't do this, you don't love. That if you don't look like this, you can't love, you shouldn't be loved, you shouldn't even love yourself. Nobody else is going to love you. Because love is limited and you're not worthy. You don't know how to love. Your love is not good enough unless it looks like this, unless it acts like that, unless it looks like mine, unless it acts like mine. Unconditional. Unconditional. And I want you to think about this. Source, existence, is the definition itself for unconditional love. Again, go back to the story, Job. Oh, you want to test my creation? I infuse them with love. In the end, love loves itself, baby. Love recognizes love. And you gonna get to that point. And you might curse it many times. Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? She's about to lose a kidney. About to go away from here. And the man that loved her gave her his, one of his. That's what love's got to do with it, baby. That's what's love got to do with it. Unconditional. Whew. Learn to love and let love bask in its vastness. And don't ever let somebody tell you what love is. My mother did things to me but you know what? You can't tell me I don't love my mother. You can't tell me I don't love my mother. Even the stuff that my mother did to me. You let somebody say something about my mother. That's not conditioning. That's love. When even, like I said, I've said this before about when I was little, I was a bully. Not a bully, but I had this one little boy. His name was Matthias. I'm never gonna forget this. I'll be Granny Gucci still sitting up here knowing this if I don't know nothing else because it touched me that deeply. Matthias had a crush on me. I could do no wrong. I don't care how mean I was to this little boy or what I did to him or what others did to it just he was always sweet. And so I messed around and I said and I think we were in kindergarten. Kindergarten. We were in kindergarten, yeah. Because we had been in Head Start together. But then we went to kindergarten together. And I messed around and said something about Matthias's mother. And Matthias whooped my little butt, okay? And before I could beat Matthias's butt, he would fight back, but I didn't beat his butt. Okay? He went to town and there was an energy in him that had never been there before. And I recognized that was the love of his mother. So I realized at that age, oh, you can say anything you want about some people, but don't you talk about what they love. Mm-mm. Because something will come up in them, baby, that's not of this world. That's not seen. That's not seen. When you have mothers lifting up cars off of their babies, that's that unseen coming up out of them. So don't you think you are limited to what you see and what you think and you know yourself to be. You are way more than that. And that is going to be it, beloveds. That is going to do it. No, it's not. Sorry. And it's that unconditional love that anchors all. The sages, saints, masters, gods, and goddesses of myths and legends, fairy tales, and bedtime stories, star seeds are fed in this way. Do you know why I love beautiful things? Because I am rooted here. The earth, the universe, I am beautiful. Mirror opposite of self-hate. And beloveds, what that meant, let me break that down, is that we treat the earth the way we treat her because she is a mirror to us. And if we loved ourselves, we would love her. We would take care of her. We wouldn't be doing the things that we're doing to her and her creatures and her children. But because we hate ourselves, we hate her because she mirrors our nature. She mirrors love. She mirrors self-worth. She mirrors eternity. She mirrors unconditional love. I spoke of butterfly Belial. It's not the struggle, it is the wisdom, the insight of transformation and transmutation, the alchemy of turning lead into gold, spinning straw and into gold. And then the straw man from the Wizard of Oz came up. And you have to really think about that archetype, that character. That character thought it was stupid. That character let itself be picked upon. It stayed up on this post while the crows, you know, picked at it. Wasn't afraid of it. Ate its corn that it was supposed to be protecting. All because it didn't know itself. All because it didn't love itself. All because it was conditioned to be one way. It is in the knowing of thyself and the rising beyond the horizon. It is the rebirth, the resurrection, the ascension, like the dung beetles who put their young inside hot shit and roll it into the sun to dry. And beloveds, I want you to understand that. We often say we're in hell, and hell is this fiery place. Well, we're waiting to know ourselves so we can dry, hell will dry out. As soon as we know ourselves, guess what? Hell dries out. And we're really safe. Okay? If you look at hell being earth and us being the scarab children that's been rolled up in the earth and rolled to set in the sun, we waiting on it to do what? Dry out so we can come out. And don't take that the wrong way. It's very metaphoric. But it was given to me for a reason, beloveds. And like I said, I've shared some things with the scarab beetles before. Um, the movie, it was a cartoon movie, starts with a K, about a little boy playing this Japanese instrument, I believe. I believe it was Japanese, and the Beatles, and death and transformation, and it was very deep at the time when I saw it, and it still is very deep to me now because it gave me the understanding of what the scarabs really represented in the understanding of ascension and transition and transmutation. Sometimes we're often, and I've used the metaphor of the stirring the shit pot, and the person stirring the shit pot gets splattered with shit. Well, if you're in this dung ball, you are covered in shit. And when you come out, you're still going to be covered in shit. But you got to brush the shit off and you got to keep going. You got to live. You got to exist now. Shit free. So it's transmuting, it's transcending, it's ascending. And it's understanding that our parents started the same way that we did. And they rolled us up just like we want to push our kids up. And they're going to get covered in shit. And they're going to have to come out of it and know how to transcend it and do what they need to do. If this was very powerful for me. That beetle is very, very, very significant. Okay, let me keep going. That we can emerge out of the shit, reborn eternally. Signs and symbols before language, the unseen inside the seen. Wow, there it is again. The unseen, which is the larva, the beetle larva, or the beetle babies, or eggs, or whatever you want to call them, inside the dung. They're unseen. Life is in that shit ball. But you can't see it, just seeing the shit ball. But life is in it. And that takes, what just came into my head now is the eater riddle from Samson with the lion and the honey. That takes that a step farther. The unseen inside the seen. And can the mark, a long time ago, I asked what the mark of Cain was. And I was told that the mark of Cain was the skin or the pigmentation of the skin being white, turning into white from being melanated to barely melanated. And in infinite intelligence, this was very deep. Specifically, is very deep because of what is going on, um, the significance of what is going on, and understanding it in a way that is both seen and unseen. So, understanding this more than just um, as looking at races or as looking at the outside of skin, the outside, okay? Because there are many of us, many of us with Caucasian blood in us, with Caucasian ancestors, with, so I'm not speaking of that. I'm not speaking of the mixing of the blood. I'm not speaking of any of that. Just like in the Old Testament, when um, a new law was established, don't judge people on what they eat. Don't judge people on this. Don't judge people on that, because now the Holy Spirit is here. And the Holy Spirit can help and enter whatever it wants to, do whatever it wants to. It can enter animals. It can do whatever it wants to. Okay? So don't think I'm just talking about white people here, because I'm not. Because, baby, there are many of you with this Cain frequency in you. And you're the farthest thing from white that they could be from on the outside, okay? So I'm not talking about race. I'm telling you how we got to this point, why we got to this point. In every war, there's always my God versus your God. There's Christianity versus Muslim. There's this versus that. And there's I am superior to you. In this age, we have come down to a racial superiority once again. And from how this was given to me is very deep. So let me get to it. Think about Cain. Think about Cain's mindset. Think about Cain and who he knew himself to be. Think about Cain as being a farmer, growing and developing. Okay? Think about him having this knowledge on blending hybrids together to make a multicolored rose. Or now we're making what? Grapes that taste like this and that, and we're putting frog cells in tomatoes and all of this. I want you to understand all of this is agriculture. All of this is genetics. This is Mendel. This is science. This is the science of the earth. Okay? So understand this is who Cain is. So when you have them running around talking about blood and soil, this is the genetics. And I believe it was called eugenics or something like that. But I really want you to understand, beloved, I don't want you to miss out on my point and think this is about race and racism. Because there's been so much blending that it is no longer about race. That's why there's not a chosen race anymore. That's why there are 144,000 who are the chosen. But those 144,000 from them grows the rainbow warriors. And the 144,000 are rainbow warriors themselves, beloveds. They are not from one color, one culture. We are star seeds. We came from the heavens. And even on this earth, we have blended that. Okay? So this is about the unseen again, not the seen. This is not about the white color. This is about the frequency inside. The frequency that caused, remember, Cain wasn't white in the beginning, but Cain had this frequency in him. And according to this, Cain was marked. That means he was changed from everyone else. He was changed. And he said, if they see me, they're going to want to kill me. And he said, no, I'll mark you. And they'll know not to kill you for this reason, because of the way I'm going to mark you. When you see I don't want to use the word albino, but I will use the word white deer, white rhinoceros, white alligator, white giraffe, white bat, white ant, white whatever. We call that rare. We call it rare. We call it sacred. That's been passed on. You don't mess with that because that's rare. That's sacred. It's been marked. Okay? Now, again, the character, the frequency of Cain. The character outside of paradise, the mirror, return to paradise. He will bite you in the heel, you will bite him in the head. Again, the mirror, the Ouroboros, the paradox is a consciousness. God knows the heart of man. Cain's heart was known. In Cain's, before Cain became Cain, who was marked, Cain thought himself superior to Abel. Cain thought he was superior, that his farming, that his intelligence, his way of knowing, his way of being, his way of everything was superior to Abel's. What was Adam and Eve told? Multiply and be fruitful. What did Cain do? Cain multiplied and became fruitful. Okay? The dominant gene, that dominant frequency of Cain determines your content of character, your frequency that you vibrate at. If you are more in tune and aligned with the works of the flesh, or more in tune and aligned with the works of the spirit. All of this is based upon your genetic makeup. Has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Has to do with the frequency of your being. Has to do with your identity, your self-identity with that inner frequency. If you can connect with that inner frequency, you have a level of love and compassion that will give you guidelines If you are all ego, you are detached from your compassion. You are detached from feeling, from attaching that way. Doesn't mean it cannot be corrected. That's a choice. That is why we have free will. You are free to choose this identity or this identity. Again, Job, what have you been doing? I've been roaming the earth, searching and seeking. Who was most like you? Oh, and you found Job. I found Job. And I could turn Job. I could turn him. You think you can turn Job? Well, you go ahead. Try. And maybe you'll learn something on the way. Love. That's what differentiated Job from the rest of humanity. That love, that self-identity. You brought me into this. Naked I was born. You gave me existence. I can do nothing without you. I am nothing without you. I have nothing without you and your vastness, your wisdom, your intellect, your intelligence, your existence. And if this is what you will, so be it. Because you know better than that. That's unconditional love. That is what the resistance, the oppressor, the slave master, the sadistic one, does not want you to experience, does not want you to say, this is me, does not want you to identify with. It wants you to identify with it, the way Cain did. Cain wasn't repentant. Cain didn't say, I'm sorry, God, I don't know what came over me. And I killed him and I regret it and I'm sorry. That was my brother. Oh my Lord, I'm so. Cain said, well, they gonna kill me. What you gonna do so they don't kill me? Narcissist. No empathy. None. And that's why when the Israelites went out, they were told to leave certain cultures, certain people alone. Because those cultures and those people did not have the frequency of unconditional love in them. Their frequency was on the other side, on the negative side, not on the positive side. That's why they were told, don't marry them. Kill all of them, even the animals. We are at a point, beloveds, where we need to know ourselves. And by knowing ourselves, you make a choice. Are you going to serve this master and be that masochistic slave, that little puppet, looking for the trend, the latest trend, looking for the popular group? Or are you going to be unlimited vastness? Are you going to be unconditional love? Are you going to be one with what has no beginning and has no ending? Okay. Goodness. All right. Sorry. Okay. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Michael 1, Satan was kicked out, the demons exiled and banished. Nothing new under the sun. SUN/SON. Rule, know thyself. Ye are children of God. Jesus said, you will do greater things than I. Maya, I rise. I was supposed to read that poem. But beloveds, if you read that poem, you read it from the unseen, not just the color of skin, but read it from the realm of the unseen. And from Jubilee, and also from what is the greatest change that is coming, is those who were the least are going to realize and love themselves again. And they're going to act like they love themselves. Okay? And just as Satan was exiled, excommunicated, that is what is going to happen with these lower vibrating energies. They're going to be contained. That means they will have less influence. That means their vibration will diminish. Their frequency will no longer be able to program you or condition you. That is why they want to block out the sun. That is why they're putting plastic in the oceans. That is why they're killing the dolphins. That is why they're killing the whales. That is why they're hurting the earth itself. And we can no longer allow. And like I said, understand, as above, so below. The unseen as well as the seen. Understand that there are angels protecting you against demons. There are pixies protecting you against trolls, orcs, whatever. They are coming together and working together on behalf of, as a collective, against a greater evil. So, beloveds, just know that we are not alone, and just know to love yourself. Again, read Maya's poem, I Rise. Distraction, using the babies to hide what you're doing right in plain sight. The parade/charade. Mocking understand that we are being mocked. The frequency of vastness is being mocked by a limited frequency, egocentric, narcissistic frequency that is trying to trigger us into becoming violent, into anything but self-identifying with what is in us. But even as it's doing this, understand we're all tools. And the more they're doing this, the more our compassion is rising. And the more we're praying. And the more we're tuning in. And the more we're coming together, regardless of race or anything else. Race or religion, gender. We are coming together through the unseen. And that is unconditional love. We are coming together because of love. And what we are coming together against is the opposite of unconditional love. As above, so below. We're being mocked. You got enough money. You do not have enough money for beds and toothpaste, but you have enough to show off military might and right to do what you want to do. And the elites are given front row seats. Sight beyond sight. See the manipulative, sadistic ego mind that is behind this. The unseen, and see the masochistic slave identity, aka 45, serving its master for the simple pleasure of making its master happy. And that is it, beloveds. And again, I want you to understand that this is not about politics. I'm not a political person, even though I went and voted because I felt it was necessary to voice to identify with the self and voice that I understand now. I'm voting for me. I'm not voting for a man. I'm not. This system is going to come crashing down. If the election itself was interfered with by computer through machinations, through unseen means, it don't matter who you vote for, beloveds. It don't matter if, oh, Hillary didn't win because we didn't like Hillary. Wasn't gonna win if we had loved her. Okay? Bernie Sanders wasn't gonna win if he had got all the votes in the electric because it was rigged by the unseen. Understand that. Face that. See it. See it for what it is. Man cannot rule over man, period. Because he gonna cheat, murder, kill, and lie about it. Because he don't know who he is. And you're putting your hope, your trust, your belief in somebody that don't know who he is. on his outside appearance, on his mask, on her mask, on its mask. Just like in the Bible, the Israelites existed way before they came to the mindset that they needed a physical representation of a leader. They had an unseen leader that wasn't good enough. We need something we can see. We need somebody we can see. So they went and got the tallest, the most beautiful warrior. They didn't forgot who he was because of the things he acquired and became more a slave to his ego than to his heart. So, beloveds, that is it. That's all I wanted to share. And if you're listening, it's for you. If you know somebody who needs it, serve it up. It's free. If you can put it in a different way that is, you believe will be more palatable to others, baby, cut this pie any way you want to and serve it up. If you want to serve it up hot, if you're going to serve it up cold, if you're going to put butter on it, if you're going to put ice cream on it, if you're going to put caramel on it, you go ahead. You go ahead. It's pie. We got pie. Don't matter how somebody eat it, as long as they get to taste it and swallow it and digest it in a way that's palatable to them. Because this information is unlimited. And just as it can be used positively, oh honey, it can be switched and used negatively. Don't think I don't know that either. But I'm not attached either way. So, namaste. And beloveds, look within yourself and find the ability to love unconditionally. And it's not going to happen overnight. But the more you dwell in its presence, the more you become one with it. And as you become one with it, can't nothing separate you from it. Can't nothing separate you from it. Because you know what it is. So can't nobody tell you what it's not. Okay, that's going to do it, beloveds. Namaste. This is Valerie Ames, Mother with Wisdom, that I am. Love. Unconditional love. Sharing unconditional love with the courage to see it for what it is. And no longer being, I don't want to use the word scared, but conditioned to hide it or to be ashamed of it. Unconditional love. And unconditional love doesn't care if you receive it or not. It doesn't care. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. So I love you. I love us. And that's it. Here we go.